What is going on everyone, Nostalgia925 coming at you with another Digimon comparison video. Maybe a little disclaimer, I think that this subject is probably going to be the most touchy one, I guess. I think that every now and then it's a good thing to sort of look at the more sensitive aspects of a franchise, just to relate to it at another level, a more emotional level. Simply to have a better understanding of the multiple connections we have to a franchise by looking at it from different point of views. Pokemon versus Digimon, which franchise had the most sensitive topics? That is what we are going to be talking about in this video. I'm happy and proud to say that I'm not alone, as some of you guys left me with some of your comments, which will be used. However, I might not use your entire comment, but just part of it, just to, I guess, not spoil too much. But anyway, thanks for your comments, they were really helpful. Considering Digimon and Pokemon have been compared numerous times, like Marvel and DC are being compared, I think that it is a good thing to look at those sensitive topics to make you understand how different these franchises are from each other. None is better than the other, they're both good in their own way, but still, I wanted to point out certain things. Before we get to it, let me first start by showing you the comment that inspired me to make the video. Dion Lyles wrote the following: I feel that Digimon isn't afraid to try new things. The anime and the games tend to change things up when it comes to the main cast and the Digimon involved, while Pokemon is content to just stick to Ash and Pikachu. It doesn't shy away from sensitive topics like death or the results of long-term bullying. Hey guys, if you're new to this channel, please make sure to drop a like and subscribe to the Nostalgia925 channel and join us. We love to analyze the Digimon franchise and simply give it the attention it deserves, considering how it really made my childhood and hopefully yours. As a true Digimon fan, why would you not subscribe to this channel, huh? I will start our conversation with the most neutral comment written by Ray Hayes, who said the following: I think both shows had enough to affect me on my life. And yes, I can certainly understand that. It is a valid comment because the truth is, a sensitive topic is and always has been extremely personal. We all have our own life experiences, our own personalities, and those will only guide our eyes and feelings, affecting our way of thinking. You might look at a certain aspect of a franchise and be touched by it, while your closest friend might not. We are all unique and we all experience things differently, and that's the point of this video. I want you all to write down how you experienced both franchises. Considering Pokemon is the guest in this video, I will first discuss the comments defending Pokemon. Marine Solar wrote the following: Every time a Pokemon movie starts with the opening introduction, my heart jumps and I start to cry. As an autist, Pokemon is the franchise I love the most. Seeing those Pokemon run, fly and swim in their world is such a wonderful moment. I envy every human in the Pokemon world. I wish I could live there too. I just realized I think Pokemon affects me more because I don't like humans and I love animals. Pokemons are animals. They do have more human intelligence than real life animals, but they still act like animal beings. Anyways, both franchises kept me alive when I wished to die and leave this cruel world of humans. They remind us there is more in life than we've been taught in real life. This comment is a great example to show how one can experience a franchise based on his, in our case, her background. Even the smallest aspect of Pokemon, meaning the introduction, can be very sensitive to some, and I firmly believe that we can do no other than respect it. I admit that in my younger years when I played Pokemon Gold, I loved watching the introduction and in the end, just see Ho-Oh fly in what looked to be an endless space. It did something to me every time I watched it and did not press the start button to just skip it. Now the second Pokemon defender was Andres Marrero, who gave us a very long comment about the sensitive topics Pokemon may have. I made a resume based on the topics he was able to bring up. He began by saying that Pokemon tends to hide their darkness underneath the light even though it is there. He gave us a bunch of examples which I could sum up to the following: death and acceptance. Out of the many examples that was given was Ash's death, which was very heartbreaking. Feelings of loneliness and a desire for comfort, which was seen in a couple of times in some Pokemon episodes. Abuse and abandonment. He referred to Dr. Gittis of Pokemon Generation 5, who introduced the viewer to abused and abandoned Pokemon. And last example was separation, like when Ash released Pikachu. So to resume, we had death and acceptance, feelings of loneliness and a desire for comfort, abuse and abandonment, separation, and he also referred to an episode of the Pokemon miniseries Twilight Wings, where an ill boy with heart problems was desperately trying to get a letter to a man he admired. I watched the movie and it was really well done. It was only 6 minutes. By the way, I will copy Andreas' comment here in this video, you will see it in the comment section. And by the way, speaking of the comment, look, it is true that I am more a Digimon fan than I am a Pokemon fan, but still, I think I can remain objective when I have to, or I can at least try to do it and be objective, considering that you cannot really be a 100% objective. So the comment of Andreas began with the following: Pokemon tends to hide their darkness underneath the light. I believe that this sums up our conversation. Pokemon can show sinister aspects, but it mostly hides them. And when you hide something, some will end up not finding it. And hence people will end up not finding those sensitive topics. They're simply going to watch the episode and after it, well, they'll just continue. And that is perhaps the biggest difference between Pokemon and Digimon, who is not afraid to show darkness straight to your face. I can even go as far as to say that Digimon kind of held back because they could have shown us more. Look, we were given the example of Ash's death, right? Which happened multiple times across the different movies. What bothers me is that it always ended up with Ash somehow being revived. That doesn't change the fact that he died, sure, but still, what significance can you attribute to a death which will be nullified after 10 minutes every time it happens? What can you learn from it? To give you an example of another franchise, in Dragon Ball Super, in the Universe Survival arc, there was this Royal Rumble where the best team from different universes were to fight each other. The team that would get knocked off the arena with no more of their fighters left would be erased from existence along with their own respective universe. While it may look scary, it was said that the winner of the tournament might wish whatever he or she wants, and that wish will be granted. As a consequence, every time a universe was erased from existence, I was not sad, knowing that there was a possibility that they would end up coming back by a wish. Naruto does this different. I remember the arc where Gaara was killed. In Naruto, when you die, you usually die and stay dead, unless someone can use some forbidden technique, but that is quite rare. So the feeling I experienced from Gaara's death was a total shocker to me, because I knew there is no way he was ever going to be brought back. He did come back, thanks to a secret technique, but that technique ended up killing the caster. It was heartbreaking. It still is, by the way, especially when you know the background story of both these characters. Pokemon deals with death in a different way. Pay attention, I'm not saying that you won't feel anything. Again, it is a very subjective topic. We were given the example of Mewtwo, who experienced the death of the other clones that he befriended. I'm sure it touched many. But in the end, I would remain with the same opinion: Mewtwo is Mewtwo. The Pokemon is not Pikachu, who we've had a connection throughout all the episodes. Pikachu, who had an immense character development. Heck, Mewtwo isn't even Meowth, who we've also seen through all the episodes. So to me, there never really was this real character build-up, aside of that one particular movie and that sad background story Mewtwo was given. So I could not really relate to it like I normally would with, for example, Pikachu. My issue, and I look at that in all storytelling, may it be The Lord of the Rings, as I'm a huge fan of it, or Gundam Wing, which is certainly one of my favorites, or even better, the game Zone of the Enders 2 with Dingo Egret, I will always remain with the same opinion: a good character development is of the utmost importance, as that is going to be the deciding factor of all these sensitive topics we will end up talking about. Of course, there is what we call Pokemon abuse and loneliness and feelings of being desired. All are issues certain Pokemon might go through. But you have got to look at the narrative from a broader point of view. How much did the Pokemon designers build on the story? As far as I remember, the Pokemon story is basically Ash's journey to become a Pokemon master, and on his journey, he meets new people, and every day there is something new that is happening. But usually those people he meets, with their stories, only happen in just one episode. The episode might be sensitive, but in the next episode you'll be quick to forget what happened in the previous one. And Pokemon does have a great many episodes. This is not how Digimon work, and let me show you a comment that will make everything clear. The Shadow in the Mask wrote the following: "There's plenty of good examples, but I thought Taichi's moral crisis in Digimon 3 was pretty heavy. Whole story highlighted the many shades of grey in what used to be just good versus evil. The essential part of growing up. Personally, I love 3 for all the character development, but Taichi's arc was my favorite. Are you sure you're doing what's right? What if doing the right thing just makes everything worse? why do you fight? Can you live with making the wrong decision? If fighting means people get hurt, is it even worth it? Am I doing the right thing? Pretty hardcore for a high schooler in my opinion, especially when you consider a lot of people go through similar moments and the end result is usually lifelong depression and anxiety or suicide, which shows how close he potentially came to completely burning out. This comment alone puts Digimon on a complete different level, and that is just one story. Questions like why do you fight, or can you live with making the wrong decisions, or even if fighting means people get hurt, is it even worth it? Those are questions that every single one of us is going to be asking sooner or later in their lives, and Taichi went through that. What makes this story more impactful is the fact that we have seen Taichi growing up, we have seen how his character was worked on, challenged, we have seen the relations he has formed with others, the struggles he had with himself and with others. We have seen how Tai, who was appointed with the quest of courage, had doubts, had fears, and he was entrusted to be the leader of the group that was warped to the Digimon world. So those around him had a lot of expectations toward him. He, as the de facto leader of the Digidestined, had doubts about his decisions considering the consequences it might have. The topic of leadership is one that to this day many people have, may it be in companies or as a state leader, or in a friendly or romantic relation. You will always have to make very important decisions, and to make those decisions, it's not always simple. In fact, it can be very difficult. You can, just like Taichi, end up doubting or not be confident enough of your own capabilities. Taichi was almost what we call a tragic hero, which is a literary character who makes a judgment error that inevitably leads to his or her own destruction. The Digimon developers did not hide these possible what-if scenarios because Tai explicitly shared his fears. In some way, Digimon is about life or death, and with death I mean no possibility of ever coming back, so obviously Tai would feel a lot of pressure, and I think that Tai wasn't even in high school if I'm not mistaken. Tai alone, as a subject, can form a multiplicity of sensitive topics, and I'm talking about just one character. Let me tell you that I noticed that 2/3 of the Digidestined in Digimon Adventure were a complete mess when it comes to their background stories. Some experienced divorce, which affected them throughout the entire series, in fact even throughout their entire lives. Some experienced adoption. Another character within the group doesn't even know how to properly express the love hidden inside the heart simply because of a certain trauma. Many of the Digidestined were a complete mess, and despite their troubles they are forced into the digital world and entrusted with some huge responsibilities, and in there they make other Digimon friends, some of which perish and don't come back. They're dead and remain dead. And by the way, speaking of their death, sure, they may have been side characters, but the Digimon developers built on their character from start till the end. Even those Digimon went through certain challenges, certain doubts in their own minds. Even those Digimon went through something, and all those friendly Digimon who perished mattered in the story. It left something. It had an impact on all Digidestined, and that will show in the future decisions they are going to make after their experience in the digital universe. Digimon may look kid-friendly, sure, but it is not afraid to show you the harsh truth of life. Okay? I will go through a few comments that are at the pro-Digimon side. John Glover wrote the following: Digimon by a long shot. Pokemon was only limited to an age range of 10 and had a difficult time making me take their story seriously. Yet Digimon connects more with a variety of emotions and made me look at things going on personally in a variety of ways. Not perfect, as many things were not questioned or stated incorrectly in both, but the one who made the best effort was Digimon. Digimon in my eyes made indeed the best effort considering the fact that they don't hide sensitive topics. They are not afraid to dig and come up with something dark or something heartbreaking, and on top of that, Digimon also shows that there is not always a happy ending. In some cases, if not all cases, the divorced parents remained divorced. PokeDigi123 wrote the following: Pokemon and Digimon both have emotional moments, but I feel I have to give it to Digimon. Pokemon, in my opinion, didn't start talking on more serious problems like death till recent movies. Digimon also tackled other aspects besides death like divorce, stress and the responsibility of growing up, family issues like Sora and Rika, having trouble understanding and relating to their mothers, Marcus, and his family were dealing with the loss and disappearance of his father, while Thomas was dealing with not only the possible death of his sister, but also the powerlessness he felt when being forced to bend the knee and obey the villain at one point. Matt and TK's parents divorced. You can feel just how awkward it was for their reunion at one point, and seeing TK in season 2, finally you see TK still wishing his family was back together. Again, Digimon doesn't necessarily show a happy ending. Same goes with real life, there is not always a happy ending, and quite frankly, it's not that what matters. What matters is what you make of it. What matters is what you make of your life, despite the fact that in some way you feel heartbroken, with the possibility that you will remain heartbroken until your last breath. Leonardo Sifas wrote the following: Digimon has stories much deeper and complex than Pokemon. Digimon focuses on teaching from the very beginning the hardships and difficult decisions that we all have to make in life, and both anime are aimed at children. I can talk about moments like the Pinocchimon tragedy, that was only an innocent child that was never taught about right and wrong, or the depth humanity in Mayotusmon when he wanted to be a conqueror like many other existed in human history, but even so he preferred to follow a path that avoids the maximum of death and suffering because he was aware of the weight of these acts. You can get lost in the sea of stories and teachings that exist in Digimon. And that sea of stories, my good friend, I will do my best to tackle all of them or most of them on this channel. I will do my best to show all of you how deep Digimon is. I've planned so much for all of you, so please make sure to subscribe to the channel. That way every time I post something on the Nostalgia Nat 5 community page, you will be notified and you'd be able to share your opinions. That way I can include them in a video. In case you are new, all my Digimon videos are placed in specific Digimon playlists which are always updated. May it be Digimon Mythology, where we look at the inspiration that made the character, or the Explaining Digimon playlist, or even the Digi News, where we relate Digimon to the real world. All have their respective playlists, they are always updated. Please take a look at them. Please support the channel by dropping a like and a comment, and also by subscribing. I will see you in the next video.